Hey, what's going on, MGTOW? This is Vladimir Sauce, aka the Hot Pepper Pill. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today about my own personal red pill transformation, and to kind of hopefully let other guys and men know that they are not alone in some of the things that they may have felt or are feeling or have dealt with throughout their entire life. I was born in 1988 with my mom and dad, and I don't even remember them being together, to be honest. They divorced when I was 3 years old, and both of them had since moved on to other relationships and other children. My father married a younger woman of Jewish descent who they had my sister with, who's 10 years younger than me, and also had my mom married a very much more alpha type male than my father kind of was or appeared to be, who had two young boys, one older than me by a year and one younger, already. And then when they got married, they had my sister Grace, who is very young. She's probably 13, 14 years younger than me. So it's almost hard to kind of feel a lot of closeness with them, in that they're still kind of in middle and high school, and I've been out of that environment for quite some time. They're both, females and all that stuff. But anyway, growing up, like a lot of people, kind of raised by single mothers, or a lot of people express this feeling of just confusion and not knowing exactly if they were able to trust their own instincts and their own emotions and their own feelings as being valid. I grew up half the time at my mom's house and half the time at my dad's. It's been 3.5 days of the week with dad, and 3.5 like Wednesday afternoon to come along, go over to mom's, and be there till Sunday afternoon, rinse and repeat every week. So it's like my stability was never really there, in that I was just constantly going back and forth, and my mom was on, just dates with different men, kind of riding the carousel at the time, and some of the guys were cool, some of them were complete assholes, and I felt like I was on the back burner for her, trying to find her own happiness and stuff, and I just was running around trying to please her at all times. And I would be speaking with her on the phone and maybe say something I don't like, and she would be like, all right, well, fine then, if that's how it's going to be, and hang up the phone right on me. And it just was really disheartening. It would make me cry, because I felt rejection from the one person who gave birth to me, and I should be pleasing at all times and feel love and reciprocated feelings for and given to. I'd had the phone hung up on me multiple times. It just wasn't a good feeling. She would, not like, she wasn't abusive in the fact of like getting hit and stuff, but if I was kind of singing a song or just goofing around, she'd, smack my leg, be like, stop it, and be like, felt guilty as she saw like that big red hand mark on my leg. And I just felt like I was never able to please her, and it just was impossible with her emotions kind of being so far up and so far down. And she was also an angry person, or is, has a lot of underlying anger. If a drawer of clothes, she'd be trying to put laundry away and fold it up, and if the drawer wouldn't close properly, she would scream and slam the door repeatedly, like slam the shit out of it to try and get it to shut, when rationally you just try and put more clothes in another drawer or reposition it around so it would fit. But I saw this anger, spill the coffee, fuck, or different other things, resulted in her just getting so pissed. And it's just now, as an adult, I'm finding myself getting angry with a lot of the same things, just minor things. And I realize it stems from my mom, and watching her get pissed off so easily at all these different small problems throughout life, and they just kind of shaped how I react to things, and I don't like it. I don't want to be this person getting angry every morning. I wake up and I'll spill something, or something won't work, and I kind of feel like obviously the rational mind shows that you're in control of every action you do, and if, shit happens, sometimes things break, sometimes you're gonna spill milk on the table and get all sticky and shit on the floor or whatever, but sometimes in that mood I just scream in anger and in frustration, and I was scared of my own anger and worried about what's going on, and it's not a great feeling, but I know it all stems from my mother, and I kind of went through my whole life trying to please her. She asked me to rub her feet and do these other things, and I'd try and alleviate her pain and be a good son and try and please her. And she told me she knew even this one look that she could give me would make me do exactly what she had wanted. Stop misbehaving or whatever just with one look, because that's how impressionable young men are to please their mother or their caregivers, that the female caregiver. It's their first instinct of love is from being held by their mom or being talked to by them or fed or nourished by them, and so it's a very strong instinct to want to please your parents. And just as I've been going through life, I ended up going to high school, at an all-boys high school, and felt like I missed out on a lot of opportunities of dating and seeing women and learning about their true nature. But now that I guess I know about MGTOW, it's really not the biggest loss that could have happened. It probably saved me 4 years of, some agony in high school of having, distractions and just being led on a short leash all over a cliff by these women. But, don't worry, that kind of happened anyway, to where I met a young girl who was one of the best friends of my younger stepbrother. He was dating a girl, and the girl's best friend was this girl who I was got in a relationship with, and it was just hell. I asked her to marry me when I was 17 years old, and we got engaged, and it was just we moved in together, and at first things seemed great, but it's like how Sandman and a lot of the other these MGTOWs mentioned shit tests. They just started coming at increasing rate, and I'd get off from work, and there was a dog that we had, and there'd be dog shit all over the place, and she didn't always work but got paid anyway if she didn't show up, or if she did, because her boss was a uncle-like figure to her and would just pay her slip her the same paycheck regardless if she worked or not. And this went on for over 2 years, where I'd come home and she'd be there eating and getting fatter and just looking disgusting, and there'd be dog shit all over the house, and I'd be told, I just, Shadow, the dog pooped, I wanted to get it, but I couldn't, and the other dog has to go outside. So here I was stuck taking care of 2 dogs and a little baby in terms of this woman, and it wasn't a good time at all to be had. It was just a complete mess. That was one of my first real introductions into female nature, and I was being kind of dragged around by this woman who was just a complete bitch. Anyway, the relationship continued for a while, and fortunately fortunately, this is going to sound crazy, but we had an issue with our finances, and we needed to find a roommate to move in, and we ended up meeting up with this really awesome guy on Craigslist who moved in with us, and I really have to thank God for him, to where he kind of almost got me out of this relationship, in that he, he, along with a lot of my male friends, were like, you're such a good dude, I don't understand why you're still with this person in a way, and when you're in a relationship, you don't want to listen to it. Your pharmacy in your brain is going at full blast, giving you all these drugs of affection and attraction, and making you stay in misery. But she and I ended up kind of drinking one night, and she tried to kiss this particular roommate, and as being a good friend, he texted me saying, hey bud, this weekend your girl tried to put the moves on me, and I shut the door in her face. I'm sorry I had to tell you this way. And I got the text while the girl and I were out at dinner. I brought it up during our dinner, and she's like, I didn't want to ruin the weekend. I just didn't want to ruin the day, so that's why you wouldn't tell me that you tried to make out with our roommate. So the relationship came to an end, thank God, as I just, it kind of progressed towards the end. I think we tried to make things work, but it just it just kind of fizzled out, thank God. And I moved on to another relationship. And also I tried my luck at joining in the Army. I did the reserves for a little while, and it kind of led me into more depression, to be honest. Like, I liked the training, and I met some really cool people, to where I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. But coming back to Baltimore, where I live, our unit was just a disgrace. We would go and start up all the trucks and move them out to the wood line and sit for 3 hours burning all that diesel and gas just to say, oh, the training exercise is over, let's move back. And I was like, what are we doing? You just get bitched at for all the stuff. I'd be seen as, one of the men who could always be looked to do what was told, and people would use and abuse me there all the time. It almost seems like every aspect of my life, people really can see that I'm willing to self-sacrifice for the collective, and I'd like to figure out a way to not appear this way, because the sergeants would get me, go get the water, go fill up this, just let it run 30 minutes till it's not brown anymore, and then you can put it in the cooler. And I just was disgusted by that, and I actually went my own way from the military. Thank God I was in the reserves, as I just sat down and told these folks, hey guys, this isn't for me. I feel like it's just a big waste of time, and I'm honestly, here we go. I was thinking about killing myself. It seemed inescapable. It seemed like every path I took just led me to nothing. To where I was trying to benefit myself and my career by joining this group, and thought it would be a good experience, but it was not good at all. It was a big waste of time, and I felt abused by the system, to where, there really wasn't a pride in being a soldier, being a part of the United States, like how they said, build you down and back up. They break you down, but they never really put you back together again. And to know what was in store if I stayed in the unit for another year or 2 years and ended up in Iraq or Afghanistan, or now that shit with ISIS is popping off, I probably would have definitely taken my own life, because it just would have been complete misery to be around all these people that just make me feel like absolute shit, getting scraped off of a shoe, the lowest of the low, and being around that was toxic. So brings on to relationship number 2, who I met shortly after I was kind of thinking about getting out of the military. And this girl was kind of one of those really good chameleon types, able to blend in and act like she wasn't like every other girl that out there. And I was really attracted to her. I felt like she was the one, and all this stuff. And we were together for maybe about 1.5 years. And after we kind of broke up, we were trying to work on one of these pieces of furniture she got from New York or something, a very expensive, nice chest with like a mirror built into it and everything. And we ended up working on it almost all day, and I accidentally broke a piece of it with a screwdriver, and after that it led to us breaking up. She's like, alright, well, you can't even do this, you're not a real man, I think we'd just be better off being friends. And I honestly trusted her to think that we might get back together, and she left me alone for probably 7 months or something, just no talking, no nothing. I'd message her like, hey, do you want to go sing some karaoke? I thought you wanted to be friends, and just complete rejection. And it hurt for a long time. We did actually get back together, and for maybe 2-3 months, and it kind of ended up fizzling out the same way it did, which is why I personally believe I don't think women are capable of love, because if she had the feelings I had for this girl, and still kind of do, it sucks. I wake up in the morning and I feel shame because of what I've lost, and I'm trying to get over it. I discovered men going their own way, and it opens your eyes to not needing to have this other person to make you feel validated. It's kind of like, I'm thinking about my birthday that might be coming up, and last year I was like, God, my birthday sucked. I was kind of single, I didn't really have anything to do, but that's my fault. It shows you with MGTOW, you can just go out by yourself and make every experience your own experience. Don't sit around and wait for this woman to come. But it broke my heart having the relationship come to an end the way it did. And it left me very depressed, and I smoke weed all the time. I smoke weed pretty much every day, and I still do. And I know that's not the best way of finding insight and getting deep under the issues to help progress and move forward. And at the same time, I work for my father, and have since I graduated high school, the business he started. And like with Turd Flinging Monkey's video he just recently made about the cycle of egalitarianism, if you haven't checked that out, it's pretty good. He talks about a business model in which if you have authority and responsibility both at the same time, you're going to be engaged. But if you don't have any responsibility or any authority to make things happen around the company, you're going to be apathetic. And that's kind of at the point where I am. I'm put on the lowest of the low to mop the floor and to do all these deliveries, and I come in with a smile. I'm like, hey Dad, good morning, how are you? You know, I try and see his experience, and knowing that he's kind of been stuck with this this relationship that he may not have even wanted. He just probably felt low at the time and had a son that, you know, he wanted a mother figure for, and just felt like shit, you know, and wanted to have that validation again, to where as my mom and he had divorced when I was very young. But this particular woman is very controlling. She has an extremely high level of anxiety, tries to control everything that my sister does. My sister is getting involved in smoking weed too, and I told you she's 10 years younger than me and is just depressed. Her self-esteem is null, and I don't know how to reach out to help her either. My stepmom made me sit on the toilet to pee as a child, and it was emasculating, to where I felt there was something wrong with me, and rather than just telling me to wipe up the toilet if I made a mess, you know, and teach me proper sanitation and cleaning, she'd rather just emasculate me and make me feel like I'm stupid, which is how my boss pretty much operates today. I'll come into work with a big smile and say good morning, and, you know, be kind of ready to work and ready to go, and be right by his side if he needs anything. And he's like, why don't you go sit down and just wait till I do this, and you know, and then I'll go get you. And it just gets so frustrating because I try my best to be engaged, but when I have no authority and I have no responsibility, it leaves nothing but apathy. And I feel like I'm kind of stuck in this cycle of catch-22, to where my mom made me react in anger to a lot of these things, which wants me to keep my emotions at a lower state. So I smoke, and, you know, I try to relax that way, but it keeps me kind of in the same repetitive cycle, to where I can't get another job because I keep smoking, and I just feel low a lot of times about things, even though I try and put up, like a lot of guys say, put up a good front. And, you know, sometimes I still do have thoughts about suicide, you know, and I feel like I never really fully reached my potential as a man. And I feel like, you know, I went to this all boys high school, and to where people had all this pressure on me to excel and to get good grades and to get in a good college. And I had like a 3 GPA, and the instructor I had was like, I wouldn't even try and apply to Towson State University or do anything like that. I would just go to community college. And it made me feel like I was kind of worthless, that I strived so hard, and it was just like, you know, everybody thought I was really smart, but everybody at the school was probably just as smart as I am. I wasn't really the special snowflake that everyone thought, and it was all this pressure built up that seemed unreal, and still at times does seem unreal, you know. My boss, Dad, will tell me, you need to do something that's the least amount of responsibility for you. You know, push shopping carts at the grocery store, or something that you can't mess up. And it just makes me feel like a mistake, you know, whether it's from my dad, whether it's from, you know, I think he's getting these thoughts from my stepmom, who just fills him with poison, you know. And when I was a kid, I was on Adderall, I was on Ritalin, I was on Strattera. I had seizures as a kid, you know, probably from all the stress. You know, my brain was just short-circuiting because it couldn't handle all the shit that was happening. And, you know, I don't know how I'm still handling it nowadays, but it's, you know, that's why I want to get on these channels and talk and be able to say that people aren't alone. You know, if they've had their mom kind of be hot and cold, you know, loving, and then hang up the phone on you right after, and it makes you cry. You know, boys aren't supposed to cry. You're not supposed to get upset. You know, the man that she married is, you know, very, he was an ex-Marine Corps kind of guy, my stepdad. And I kind of look at what he taught me growing up. I really resented him as a kid because I didn't understand his alpha traits and trying to be like, you know, hey, this is a man, you know, this is what men do or whatever. And I respect him in some ways, but then I also think he's just a big fool too. You know, I hate to say that, but he thinks he's so smart and doesn't really question a lot of things that would seem to make sense to question. But anyway, I feel like I'm just kind of rambling, and, you know, I hope I'm not talking in circles and that some of this stuff kind of resonates with other people, how they're feeling. And it's just that I think it's female nature. It makes people strive for this acceptance from this type of mother figure that they were never able to please growing up, and they're always searching for constant validation from these females and from other women. And when you really should just, I guess, focus on the problems and look at your life, and the sun is shining, and, you know, hopefully you have some friends that you can hang out with and put your trust in and spend time with them, and really reflect on the relationships that do matter, and cut out the ones that are toxic, you know. And if anybody has any advice for me too, I mean, I welcome that, and I hope that I can make more videos with more advice for other people. I don't want to drag people down with my story, but that's just kind of how I started thinking about life. And I think the red pill had been a long time coming, to where, you know, in 5th grade I went to a different elementary school than when I had in 1st through 4th, and I didn't really have any friends. I spent a lot of time on the playground playing with toys individually, or trying to see how many flips I could do on the little catwalk bar thing by myself, you know, or how far I could throw the frisbee, or, you know, it was all just different things, like throw the frisbee, see how far I could get it, and run and go get it. That's how kind of barren a friendship and a value my life was at the time. You know, I felt like I just didn't have closeness with my male friends where I lived, and didn't have closeness and stability at my house. I didn't join any after-school clubs or activities. I just, throughout my whole school career, because I just wanted to go home, you know. I was pretty much raised by my Super Nintendo, and, you know, I still love all those games, because it's an escape. You know, I get to play and relax and become somebody else, you know, a cowboy, like in Red Dead Redemption, and the hunt stuff. In Dark Souls, I can become like a super powerful warrior that never gives up and just is a badass that beats down any challenge, knocks down any doors. And Dark Souls is a sick game, by the way. I think it parallels a lot of shit in actual life. If you're not a fan, you should definitely check it out. It's a sick story. But the point is, it's just been an uphill battle my whole life, and it hasn't seemed to be getting any better. And certain conversations of shame can put me right back into feeling like that little boy that just feels worthless and alone in the playground, alone in a crowd, lost. And it's, you know, that's where MGTOW shows you, like, hey, you aren't alone. A lot of guys who end up in prison were raised by single mothers that were abusive, and, you know, thank God I've got, you know, at least my head on somewhat straight, to where, you know, I can think about things, try and process them. There's goals I have. I want to try and work out my body and have more of that connection, to where it's releasing these endorphins in my mind, and I'm feeling better about myself and having a more positive outlet than just kind of smoking and being complacent. So, you know, if you guys are down to trying to offer some advice, or like maybe what you do, or, you know, how to get out of this cycle of, you know, hopefully finding a new job and just kind of not feeling so stuck. But it's just, you know, that's kind of what led on to me searching up online about female nature, and trying to figure out why, you know, I go into these city buildings and people look at me with such disgust, like I'm like a rapist, or like, you know, I'll say, hi, it's, you know, Vladimir with Commercial Cabling and Sound, or whatever, and come on in, you know, or whatever, and they look, who are you? Where's your ID? ID, like, it's, what the shit, you can't even say hello to me or acknowledge my presence. And that's just what led me into searching, like, I came across Dark Knight, Are Women Parasites? And I was kind of repulsed by, like, the title at first, going with being a white knight or mangina, whatever. But I couldn't look away, and it just rang true. And then I started checking out Sandman's videos, and what he was saying was true, to where you just feel, you're kind of just stuck in this society where you're like, look and scratch your head, like, what the fuck is going on? Why is everything so fucked up? It's crazy. We've got corrupt leadership keeping all these feminist laws intact and adding more, and decreasing responsibility, and no one has to think to do anything. They can just have their cell phone up their ass and stare into space and not even have an actual conversation, and things are just going to get worse, so that's why, again, my goal is to wake people up right now, and let them know they're not alone, and just keep kicking ass. And like I said before, the sun is out. Sun's out, guns out. Get on up, put your best foot forward, and things are okay. There's other people that are going through worse, or the same things, and this community online, you can make videos too. They don't have to be all that great. Mine aren't all that great, but whatever. It's therapeutic for me. Hopefully it's therapeutic for other people to check it out and just be open to new experiences and the community, and just, you're not alone again. So that's all I have time for today. And this probably could have been written down and way more well constructed, and rather than just rambling for 30 minutes. But hey, that's my red pill story. That's what I've been through, and it's just been an experience. So, all right, guys, stay strong.